Thank you, Madam Chair. Millions of Americans just gathered for a Thanksgiving meal, one that was more expensive than any other before it, as grocery prices have risen more than 13% just over the last year. Turkeys, in particular, were estimated to be 73% more expensive this year than they were last year. Sadly, many consumers have started reporting that they now have to choose between buying groceries to feed their families and putting gas in their cars to get to work. Inflation, to put it gently, is wreaking havoc on our entire economy. But not on the grocery industry, it appears. In fact, earlier this year, Kroger CEO Rodney McMullen confessed that, quote, "A little bit of inflation is always good in our business," close quote. Well, it must have been very good this year, as Kroger has now amassed enough to spend $24.6 billion to buy up one of its largest competitors, Albertsons. If this feels like deja vu all over again, that's because it is. Back in 2015, Albertsons acquired Safeway for $9.2 billion. As a condition of approving that particular merger, the FTC required Albertsons to divest 168 of its stores. When the largest buyer of the divested stores went bankrupt just 9 months later, not even a full year, Albertsons bought back some of the very same stores that it had been required to give up in order to avoid violating the antitrust laws and in order to allow the merger to go through. Then the FTC official who had signed off on that divestiture now runs the antitrust practice at the law firm representing Kroger in its purchase of Albertsons. Hollywood couldn't write a more cynical plot, not if it tried. Yet the companies assure us that this is the merger that will make everything better. They have announced commitments to spend $500 million to lower prices, $1.3 billion to update their stores, and $1 billion to increase employee wages. Of course, they haven't explained how we can be sure that these commitments will actually be fulfilled. Nor have they explained why the merger is necessary to begin with. In fact, while they've promised $2.8 billion in investments, they've also just announced a $4 billion payout to shareholders. Their press release hints at other motives, including increased data collection and advertising, and a greater focus on ESG. This leaves me wondering, do Americans really need a grocery store chain with wealthier owners who collect more of their personal data and push their woke agenda even more? Not in Utah, that's for sure. In preparation for today's hearing, we attempted to hear Kroger and Albertsons' side of the story, but they largely declined to provide substantive answers or explanations to subcommittee staff and promised instead that they would do so in their testimony. We'll see soon enough. I expect the candor of their testimony will be a good predictor of the fate of this merger. Now, I've been asked more than once what the purpose of a Senate hearing on a merger is when we don't have law enforcement powers in this committee. We're just a legislative subcommittee. Simply put, hearings like this one provide an important opportunity for the American people to better understand an economic transaction over which they have little say, but which so intimately affects their lives and their livelihoods. It also gives us a chance to review the adequacy of our laws protecting competition. That is certainly the case today. I'm grateful to each of the witnesses for joining us, and I look forward to our discussion and to the transparency that I hope we can provide to American consumers today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Lee.